Hi, I'm James Hamilton from Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal, and today we're going to make some table saw inserts that will help you achieve cleaner and safer cuts. That insert around your table saw's blade isn't there just to plug a hole. It can play a critical role when it comes to the quality of the cuts you make. If there's a wide gap next to the blade, the fibers on the underside of the wood will be unsupported, and cross cuts can result in some nasty chipping. And if your saw isn't equipped with a riving knife or a splitter, you're in serious danger of kickback should the workpiece turn during the cut or otherwise press against the back of the saw blade. In fact, most table saw accidents come not from sticking your hand right into the blade, but from a workpiece catching on the back of the teeth and then pulling your hand into the cut. We can kill both these birds with one stone by making an insert that supports the fibers around the blade and includes a splitter to prevent kickback. The most common way to make a new insert for your saw is to attach your old insert to a piece of wood and then use a template router bit to trim it to the exact shape and size. But I find that many of the inserts that come with saws fit too loosely, or like mine, they have protuberances that make it difficult to route them in that way. So we're going to custom cut ours to fit the throat hole in our saw. I start with some good plywood. This is 3/4 inch 5-ply birch veneer stuff that you get off the rack in a home center. It's not Baltic birch, but it's still good quality without any voids. I prefer this to hardwood because it won't split at the thinner, narrower points once we cut all the recesses and slots in our insert. I measure the length of the throat opening, then I cut a couple of blanks to length. I check the fit by slipping the boards into the opening on edge. Then I carefully trim them to width. I want a good friction fit so the blanks will stay in place during use. 3/4 inch is too thick for my saw, so I measure from the surface of the saw top to the tabs in the throat opening. I'm going to make my inserts a little bit thinner than this measurement to leave room for shims later, so precision isn't vital, you just don't want the insert to be too thick. A planer is the best tool to reduce the thickness of the blanks, or a bandsaw, but since this is a table saw tutorial, I went ahead and used that. If you don't do much resawing on the table saw, you're likely to end up with a slight crown in the center of your freshly sawn surface. You can see that peak running down the center where the two cuts meet. Sand or plane that as flat as you can and make that the underside of the insert. That'll solve the problem. If the wide gap or poor fit of your current insert makes resawing difficult, then just rip part way into a piece of 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch plywood or MDF to create a temporary flat surface that covers over your existing insert. Whatever you do, be very careful if your saw doesn't have a riving knife. In fact, I'd say you should not resaw on a table saw if you don't have a splitter or a riving knife. It's just too dangerous. Use a bandsaw or a planer instead, or try to find stock that's already a little thinner than the thickness of the insert you need. Now, we have to round off the ends to fit the throat of our saw. This is easier than it looks. Find the center of your workpiece. I'm using a special center finding ruler. These are really handy tools that don't cost much. I'll put a link to this one in the notes below this video. Once I find the center, I carry that line down the workpiece a few inches. Then I set a compass to the full width of the insert. I place the pencil point at the end of the insert and the pivot point on the line, and I strike my curve. Unless you have a really strange shaped insert, this should work just fine for you too. Cut and sand to that line carefully. Remember, you want a good fit inside the throat. Be careful when you test the fit though. It can be hard to get the insert back out if you put it all the way in at this stage. Many saws require a few recesses to be cut on the underside of the insert for things like the arbor that may keep the insert from laying flat in the throat opening. Rough in all those locations with a pencil. Remember, you're drawing on the underside of the insert, which means that the locations are reversed when you flip it over. One way to quickly mark some of those locations is to tap the insert with a mallet to make indentations on the other side. Just be sure you don't get it stuck in there. I used a Forstner bit to cut the recesses, and I added a finger hole so I don't have to worry about getting it stuck in the throat anymore. Just be sure that that hole isn't aligned with the kerf that the blade will cut later. Before we cut that kerf, we need to set the fence so it's exactly even with the edge of the throat opening. I use a straight edge to make sure. This is critical to the next step. Once the fence is set, put your old insert back in and install the blade you want to use every time you use this insert. That's right, if you use blades that have different thicknesses, like a thin kerf or a full kerf blade, You'll need separate inserts because that's going to change the thickness of the splitter. So match the blade to the insert for this next step. Now with the blade fully raised, rip into the insert, stopping when the end closest to you reaches the end of the throat opening. Turn off the saw and let the blade come to a stop before you remove it. All of the blades I use are 1/8 of an inch thick, so I don't need separate inserts for each one, but I did make 2 of them. One is for regular cutting when the blade's about 1 inch above the table. The other for deep cuts when the blade is fully raised. I marked where the back of the blade fell in both these instances because that's where my splitter is going to go. You'll see what I mean shortly. Finding splitter material can be a little bit tricky. It has to be exactly as thick as your saw blade. To test the material's thickness, it should slide inside the kerf in your new insert all the way to the stopped end of the cut. Don't just test it at the beginning of the cut because the kerf can spread open at that point and a piece that's a little bit too thick may seem like a good fit. Hardwood's the best material for your splitter. I cut mine on the bandsaw. It'll be too thin to run it through a planer at this stage unless you attach it to some sort of sled. Worst case scenario is you could use a table saw, cut some narrower strips to the proper thickness, and then edge glue them side by side. The most important thing is that the grain runs upward from the surface of the insert, otherwise it's going to break off. The height of the splitter depends on what you plan on using the insert for. I made mine about 3/4 of an inch high for my regular insert and twice that tall for the insert I plan to use for deep cuts. Make sure you get plenty of glue in the slot, and if you're piecing the splitter together, get some glue on the edges of the pieces as well. Be careful that those seams align just as if it were a single piece of wood. You don't want any bumps in there. I didn't really see a need to continue this splitter all the way to the end of the insert, so I finished the slot with a filler strip. The grain direction doesn't matter for that. For the other splitter, I decided to go the full length of the slot because my piece of hardwood was wide enough. Really, 1.5 inches would have been plenty wide. After the glue is dry, use a file or a rasp or some sandpaper to round off the corners of the leading edge. You don't need a sharp edge. You just want it to slip into the kerf of your freshly cut lumber easily. Time to fit them in your saw. We made the inserts intentionally a little thinner than needed so we could shim them even with the surface of the saw. Except we aren't going to use shims, we're going to use glue. First, attach some strips of wood to the top side of the insert. Make sure the tape runs the full length of the strips, not just the width of the insert. Now, put a little paste wax on each of the tabs in the throat of your saw. Finally, wipe a thin film around the surface of the saw top to keep that double-sided tape from sticking. Now work quickly. Put a glob of hot melt glue on each tab. Be sure to get them all. Then set the insert in place using those strips to keep it flush with the surface of the saw. Give the glue time to harden, then remove the insert. The hot glue should have hardened and filled in those gaps, creating custom shims. Good idea, eh? First time you raise your saw blade, it may cut into the splitter a little bit. That's why I made 2 inserts. This way I can keep one close to the rear of the saw blade for both regular and really thick cuts, such as when I'm resawing. A splitter is one of the most important safety accessories your table saw can have. You should never use a saw without one. And now, you don't have to. Be sure to check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. It's always full of great tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker. You can read and subscribe for free at stumpynubs.com. Happy splitting!